All right, we've got a teardown today. I was going to throw this away, and I thought, no, we'll do a teardown. This is a Retevis CB Radio. I forget the model number. You would think the model number would be right on these things, right? Oh, here we go. It is a MB4, Mike Bravo 4. There we go. 12 volts / 24 volts, 3 amps. Anyway, it's a CB radio. And I have no use for it, and it's probably not worth much on the resale value. Whoops, that came off. So let's open it up. I got a little heat sink on it here. Okay. Find a screwdriver. So you remember back in the days when CB radios were like chock full of stuff and they were real complicated inside? I'm assuming this thing's not going to be complicated inside. Oop. Well, it just has a PC board. All right, fine. Well, I found a couple interesting things right away. Right away. Interesting. There's a little RF gasket right here. They must have had some problem meeting some type of emissions, and they had a little leak, and they put a little bit of RF grommeting on there just to close up the seam. Huh, interesting. I find things like that very interesting. All right, let's see what the radio looks like inside. Yeah, not much going on there. Got some cool filters over here, though. That'll be fun. All right, let's get rid of these. I need to get in deeper. All right, so we've taken the front off. The front goes on a little flex connector there, and a power connector. I could use that. I gotta save that. So yeah, that's just kind of the brains of it. The radio part's down here. Why don't we open up we want to save the good stuff till later, right? Let's see if we can't open up the front panel here. A piece of metal. Interesting. I don't know why they needed that. Like I said, I could use this. Use that connector. All right, let's save that, and let's one of those split ring thingy or others, one of those ringy dingies there. Let's pull the knobs off. Ah, yes. There's a split. All right, then we have this one really big one, and this wrench is not big enough to go in there. All right, now it fell out. Good. Got a nice speaker. That's what that wire is I cut off. The speaker has interesting. I like that. So they used switches. They used surface mount switches, and these are good switches. And then they just have rubber blocks that go over them. So instead of having the gold contact thing with the carbon, which always go bad after time, these will not go bad after time. I like the way they did that. Yeah, I like that. We got a rotary encoder. We can maybe save that. We got a potentiometer and another potentiometer, so we could save those. The display won't be savable. It's just something specific for this radio, so we'll get rid of these things. All right, let's move things over. Get down to the radio business. Yes, sir. Let's get rid of the rest of that flex connector. Interesting stuff. Okay, it's more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Let's zoom down and take a look. Well, let's start with the Gozauza. Here's the Gozauza. Comes along, where's the pointer? Let me get a pointer out. Comes along here, and then it goes into this filter. And there's a divider here, which is nice. So it comes along here. There's a divider, there's a filter under here, another divider, gets a filter. So lots of filtering on this thing. And then it comes over to this big heat sink. So the big heat sink is that guy right there. And let's see what he is. He is an IRFZ24. So very common FET. Wacka Wacka. And then maybe a pre-driver here. I'm not sure what that one is yet. We'll open that up. Then we'll have a really interesting section here. Something under a can here. Here's a 455 kilohertz filter for the IF. Here is a crystal. Where's some lighting? Let's throw some lighting onto it. Literally. 10P08. I wonder if that's a filter as well. Oh yeah, it's a filter as well. I think it's a 10.07 filter. It's got three leads on it, so might take that out and have fun with that. Here's another oscillator down here. So yeah, I think it's a IF. It has a 10 megahertz IF and a 4.55 kilohertz IF. And then it goes under another can. And then what? Looks like we have some power supply doohickeys over here. Oh no, this is for the speaker. This is an amplifier for the speaker, a TDA 2003. And then these guys are a 7808 and a 7805. So 8-volt regulator and 5-volt regulator. 8-volt regulators are very common in radios. And then we have this funny little section here where we have a jumper. I wonder what that jumper does. Move the jumper back and forth, and then there's something here. Now, why would they put that in there? Maybe to measure current, or as another type of troubleshooting, or just some type of option, or maybe there's something you could put in here that doesn't exist in this model, and they jumpered it across. Little funny little section right there. I wonder what that doohickey's doing there. Here it looks like the DC to DC converter or filter. This is where the 12 volt comes in, to that section right there. It's probably a filter, just for the 12 volts. Yeah, so we have a couple of cans. Let's open up those cans. All right, took the cans off. There was a big giant metal can over this thing. It was a DC to DC converter. So they shielded a DC to DC converter, which is really, really nice. So that obviously was getting noisy into something or other. So had its own can over that. Nice big healthy DC to DC converter. There was a little can over this section here and a little can over this section here. So one of them must be the brains of the whole thing, I think, maybe. And then one must be the radio. I'm assuming this is the radio over here because it's got a crystal and some other things on it. This one looks kind of like more generic-y type thing. And it's next to the front panel display. So this is probably the processor, and this is probably the radio over here. And then this might be some preamplifier section or something. I don't exactly know what that is. But I think we need to put this under the microscope, take a closer look at it. All right, well, under the microscope, here was that DC to DC converter that was under that big can. It is an XL Semi, XL4015, some type of converter, DC to DC converter. So we can look that up. Here's a audio amplifier, TDA 2003. That's a pretty generic part. Here's our 8-volt regulator and our 5-volt regulator, M series, which are the military. Used to stand for military. I don't know if it still does, but they're a higher grade part, the M parts. This is what I thought was the brains. I don't really see a way to get through that laser blasting there. Looks like the markings were removed. Looks like it might be an ARM processor. I don't know if I can get rid of that paint there or not. Nah. So it might be ARM. Little guy there. Let's see here. In the middle of the board, we got a what is that? An LM2904. That's an op amp. That's probably the microphone preamp, if I'm guessing. Over here we have the connector. Goes to the multi-stage filter here. We talked about filters in a different video. Here's the filter. Keeps it going, keeps it going, keeps it going. So really high order filter. And then a second filter. I don't know what that one is. Can I bend that little guy over? Take a look at him. ST2SC looks like a generic transistor. This is the IRF Z24224N. And this guy here is a ugly part. There we go. It's a C2314. That's probably a 2SC2314 transistor. Here's what I think might be the preamp. Looks like a multiple stage here. Looks like some decoupling on the VCC. Bunch of inductors and stuff. This looks like it might be a radio on a chip thing over here. I took a quick look, but I couldn't find this part number anywhere. So if you guys can do super sleuthing and find that part number, we can take a look at it. Comment below if you can find that thing. QA8558P 5188A3C1. So whatever that is. Then we have this 10-volt filter and a 4055. I think that's just used as an oscillator. I don't think it's used as a filter because the backside has ground, and the 455. So I think it's just being used as an oscillator. Yeah. Here's another thing. What is that? I don't know what that is. Your guess is as good as mine. UTC SGAF UA3113 SG01. Yeah, 10.24 megahertz. I don't know what that is. Another radio typey thing. So yeah, there you go. Lots of interesting things inside. And some of them may occur later on a chip of the day if we can find data sheets for these things. Yeah. Oh, there you go.